Hi there everybody, this is David, and I've been playing a lot of Quartet, which is a game all about party balance. We have 8 characters, and none of them are designed to be like the same. Everybody is different, but that being said, not every party member also pulls their weight equally. Some of them just kind of make your life a whole lot easier than the others. So today, I'm going to be ranking those characters of Quartet from the worst to the best. And I definitely do think that's worth the sub as you come to join a party and you level on up with me. Thank you so much for that, as well as the like, it helps me out a ton. And also, do keep in mind that even though the so-called worst character can still fill in that niche, whenever it comes to overall utility, power, and consistency, this here is how the cast really does shake out. So let's go ahead and start with... Well, Nikolai is technically a fire mage. He's not exactly the best magic user around. He's really much more of a physical attacker. Not only that, but he also takes some time for his magical abilities to fully unlock, and even whenever they do, they're still just kinda meh. Honestly, his true use is in his physical attacks with his guns, able to deal piercing-based damage. His AP won't all go to waste though, because he does get a little healing ability, probably the worst in the game, but it also grants regeneration, so he is nice to use as far as menu healing is concerned. But otherwise, that's kind of where I would keep him, in the back row, to heal in between battles in the menu, because other characters are just better. So while Nikolai at least has his guns and a little regeneration to lean on, the next character struggles a little bit to stand out more. And that's number 7, Alexandra. She is a pretty competent earth mage, able to exploit that elemental weakness properly. But I will say that her Oracle deck ability, which deals random elemental damage, is just useless. I'd much rather have her there for their Earth-based damage, but the problem is that all of her magical-based damage is single target, and she also focuses on more defensive moves, like giving characters shields or raising up their defensive power, and she can make them go berserk too with Force of Nature, which is kind of cool, but at the same time, you also lose control of them. And Boulder Dash does reduce their defense, but Ben can also reduce enemies' defense, and for much cheaper too. She can do all this defensive stuff, but she can't actually heal, so she's just kind of lacking in utility. She also has really low HP values too, so her survivability isn't all that hot. And again, because she can't heal, she's not even good for menu healing either. So while Alexandra does fall short in durability, the next party member is basically a walking fortress, and that's our number 6, Yuna. This big hippo is a house. She reminds me a lot of Rand from Breath of Fire 2. Decently strong physically, extremely sturdy, and with the most amount of HP in the entire game, she can tank with the best of them. But her real value lies in her healing. While she can't multi-target heal like some of the other characters, she does have the best single-target healing spell in the game, as well as the best reviving spell in the game too. Then she specializes in wind-based magic, but she isn't all that good at it. However, it can also delay or stun an enemy, which does help out in a pinch. She is good to have around it for menu healing and things like that, as well as bringing her in for some tougher boss fights though. So while Yuna is reliable, whenever it comes to raw magical destruction, the next pick is top notch, with number 5, Cordelia. Similar to Alexandra, Cordelia is a very competent mage with probably the highest magical power in the entire game. And while Alexandra specializes in earth-based damage, she specializes in ice-based damage as well as debuffing. However, her ice-based magic can multi-target the enemies, and because her magical power is so high, even her basic regular attack deals tons of damage. Add on to the fact that she's able to lower every single stat while raising up her own magical stat, and you've just got this unstoppable beast on your hands with her. The one problem is though, she is kind of one note. She can't heal, and her attack power is really low, as well as her survivability. Basically, she is there to exploit water weaknesses and also debuff the bosses into oblivion. But if Cordelia is all about big magic and big debuffs, the next fighter goes the opposite direction, with big speed and raw damage. And that's number 4, Agatha. She is the closest to a glass cannon physical fighter that you're going to get in this game. Yeah, she does have access to earth magic, but like Nikolai and Yuna, her attack magic stat isn't all that hot. So her real value lies in her ability to attack twice per round.
once with piercing damage and once with slashing damage. So she is the only character able to hit both weapon weaknesses. Not only that, but she also excels at debilitating statuses, such as bleed and poison, further weakening the enemy. And even though her HP and defense is some of the lowest in the game, her speed and evasion is the highest, so she can get more attacks than the other characters, as well as draining their HP while also simultaneously healing herself. I love using her for boss fights too because of her onslaught ability, which allows her to hit an enemy 5 frickin' times. She can easily deal some of the most damage in the entire game. Of course though, not everybody needs to be a pure damage dealer. Sometimes it's the versatile hybrids that shine the brightest, like number 3, Ben. I really like this little chef. He's super versatile and the closest thing to a pure sage that you're going to be getting in the game. He's able to attack magically and heal competently as well. He's also only one of 2 characters in the entire game able to heal the entire party. And even though his healing ability isn't as good as Jerome's, his magical stat is much higher than his, so it kind of ends up being on par anyway. And not only that, it's also cheaper too. And as the other wind mage, he's actually competent with his magic, unlike Yuna. Just a single basic thunderbolt attack that you'll be using all the time also lowers an enemy's defensive power, which is like the best debuff ever, so then your physical attackers can just go hog wild. Later on, he'll also get the Zap ability, which is similar to Agatha's Onslaught because it can hit up to 5 times. He is easily one of the most versatile characters in the entire game, really able to fulfill whatever role that you might need. But speaking of unique characters, the next spot goes to a guy who doesn't even fully feel human, and might just be the scariest damage dealer in the game, and that's number 2, Zikaron. Although I'm not really sure what this guy is, I do know this: he's extraordinarily useful. He's able to deal fire damage competently, unlike Nikolai, with Ember hitting twice per round and Scorch hitting all the enemies as well as inflicting burn. But not only that, this mysterious ghost has the extraordinarily powerful Soul Strike, which allows him to deal damage equal to his current HP to an enemy, completely disregarding any sort of weaknesses or defenses or immunities that the enemy has, because this is just non-elemental damage. So if you take this and then you combine it with HP tomes and other equipment that raises up your HP values, then you'll have one of the most powerful attacks in the game at your disposal for not a whole lot of AP either. So that is incredibly strong, but at the very top, we've got the ultimate mix of durability, healing, and utility, with one character who feels just indispensable, and that's number 1, Jerome. While Yuna might be the best single target healer in the game, Jerome is easily the best multi-target healer in the game, and not only that, he's able to revive and heal status ailments too. He's also kind of like a warrior, with good attacking power, physical stats, high HP. So you might think that he's kind of on par with Yuna, except he gets so much more than that just brings him straight up to the top. He has the second highest HP values in the entire game, second only to our little hippo friend Yuna, and he's able to single and multi-target his water magic. And similar to how Ben's lightning can lower defensive powers, Jerome's geyser can lower magical defensive powers, which is great if you have a party full of mages. And also, while Yuna doesn't get any sort of weapon upgrades, Jerome definitely does, and he even has access to the extraordinarily powerful Blood Sword, which does exactly what you think it does, dealing damage and draining enemies' HP, making him pretty much an unstoppable tank. Keeping his own health topped off along with everybody else's with his healing spring ability, he is just so powerful as a menu healer and as a boss destroyer and as a random mob killer. He is at the top of the pack. So that's it for all the characters of Quartet ranked from worst to best. What makes this game fun is that every single character has at least some role to play, and whenever you do look at the full picture, it is clear who rises to the top and who ends up gathering dust on the bench. And whether you prefer versatile hybrids like Ben, raw damage like Agatha and Zikaron, or the reliable healing of Jerome and Yuna, Quartet gives you plenty of room to build that party that fits up your style. But tell me, who is your to-go team? Drop it in the comments, and also don't forget to level up and join my party by subscribing for more RPG breakdowns just like this. And have a great day, everyone.